Hi guys, so welcome back. And as you know, we are done with group one, so now we are starting with group two, but with the last subject that is paper number 8, indirect text. And as you all know, that group two is comparatively easier and much scoring than group one because first thing it has an open book paper which help you in score exemption like 60 to 70 you can easily score in that paper. And apart from that, like in IDT there are so many students which have scored exemptions in that. So I believe let's proceed ahead for this IDT paper, and I have come up with some compilations for your reference, so let's start. So this one, I hope my screen is visible. This is IDT question bank for C. Atul Agarwal, and this is fully updated for May 23 attempt. You have to go through these topics and revise this with the question bank. I will not suggest you to read whole the study material or something. If you have small notes, you can refer to that. But otherwise, if you don't have any notes, concept notes, you can directly jump to the question bank. It will be easy for you, like you already know the basic concepts because the basic concepts were the same in inter also. If you are inter student for new syllabus when the GST was introduced, so basic concepts will be same for you, just a higher level from the CA inter. And apart from that, you can easily do everything. It's so easy. In custom and FTP, I have compiled some videos for you because custom and FTP is something new which you haven't read in CA Inter, or you more people like they are regularly involved in return filings and some of the basic things of GST, so they have the knowledge of that. But in customs and FTP, people don't have work practically, so somehow it's difficult. But I believe that you should not skip it because we have a 75 to 25 marks weightage. 75 for GST part and 25 for customs and FTP. And along with that, I am giving you video links. So I have specifically focused on CA Vishal Bhattad's video links, and for some of the videos for which videos of CA Vishal Bhattad is not available, so I have provided you another teacher's video link. So I believe it will be helpful for you. In custom and FTP, I would say like. One is this, like FTP. For FTP, there is one single video you can go through that. But for custom, it is not like chapter wise bifurcation. It is only two videos for whole the custom. So your whole custom you can complete in just 7 to 8 hours. Whole revision, and just one day you can go through the question bank. So custom you can do it, custom and FTP both you can easily complete in 2 days if you study honestly and with concentration. So this is all about the question bank and video links. And let's come upon the common queries and some guidance I would like to share with. First thing first, if you have to do full syllabus or not. Like some people used to do that, they leave customs and FTP and they just focus on GST part, which is of 75 marks weightage, 75%. So if you are already doing 75% only, you will gain marks on 75 only. So try to do customs and FTP also because questions are very much similar to previous exams. Like there are some two three famous topics of examiner, they will have surely the questions: valuations, baggage, duty drawback. So these are the common questions you will have. And if you are doing just question bank na, that believe me that you will be able to score out of 25, like you will be able to score 15 at least. So if you are scoring 15 from custom, you have just have to focus a little less on GST part because GST part is wider than custom, and custom you can easily crack it. There is no technical questions or something. It's a similar questions again repeating and repeating. So you just have to go through that. So don't do selective study. Don't do just GST. Do all the things. in between, if you find one or two topics which is difficult, like don't skip whole the chapters, don't skip whole the books, whole the course, but you can just skip the small topics which you feel that you are not able to do in some short span of time. Okay, so next thing is sections to be remembered or not. So for sections, I must say that you have to remember the sections, but not for everything. So there are some basic things like charging sections, supply sections, composition levy में आपके पास दो आते हैं, 10 A and 10 double A wale. So these things you can do in that. Uh, like apart from that, there are so much sections in GST. You don't have to learn everything. You just have to learn some registration sections, composition levy, ITC sections. You know whatever things are important, and these sections are easy to learn because they are like repeating sections. You have used it in your daily life also when you are filing some GST returns or something. So they are easy to learn and you have to learn it. Don't remember the subsections if you are not able to remember that, but remember the sections itself. And schedules. In supply, schedules have more importance. Like there are three schedules in supply, you know. But in supply also you don't have to remember the paragraphs or something. You just need to remember that this is from schedule 1, schedule 2 or schedule 3. And in supply also, if you remember just 7 1, 7 2, 7 3, etc., it is also fine. So this is all about the section numbers and schedules you have to remember. Don't remember everything, but yeah, some important sections there are there. You have to remember just that. Next thing is written presentation. So if you have the numericals or something, you have to present them in a statement form. It is advisable to present them in statement form, and in the statement form when you are writing the answer. So try to make explanations in the serial number itself. Don't put every explanation at the end by way of notes. Just make notes wherever it is like you have to explain more and more, or there is some repetition in the explanation, that there is one topic. So let me give you some examples for that. If you have a question that whether it is supply or not, you have to write yes, no, or something. So whatever you can do is, because the supply concept is same for each serial number. If you have 10 serial numbers, the supply concept will be the same. So you can do is, in the starting, you just need to explain the supply in a brief manner, and then you start with the serial numbers and just uh, do your answer and with the one liner explanation that why it is happening. So you don't have to repeat the supply concept again and again in each serial number. But if every serial number but if in every serial number there is some different concept, so what you can do is you can make a T-shaped statement. Serial number A, whatever you want to write, the amount against that, and in the lower brackets, in below the serial number, you can just make a bracket and you can write the explanation or a reason for your answer in one or two lines. And then after dropping one line, you can start with the next serial number. You can do that also if you are preparing a statement form. But if you feel there are some calculations or something you have to show, if the calculation is small, you can do it in one or two lines, just make a bracket there and do there only. But if the calculation is big, then you refer note one and make notes at the end of the statement. So this way you can present the answer. Another way is like case study. If the answer is in case study form, so you just have to explain the concept briefly. Like if there is a question that it is the manufacturer something is eligible for composition levy or not, so you have to firstly explain the sections of composition levy, so legal provisions. Second thing is parts of the question. Third thing is analysis, what you are analyzing from the facts and the legal provisions, and at the last you have to mention the conclusion. So split the answer into four parts as you do in the normal case studies, and most importantly, underline every limits whatever you are writing, underline the conclusion, and conclusion will be should be as matched as the question. If the question is asking about the validity, you have to answer the conclusion as per validity. If the question is asking about whether it is eligible or not, so you have to write the conclusion as per the eligibility. So try to match the language of conclusion with the question you are demanding. Okay, so this is about written presentation. And apart from that, language, whatever language you have to write. So in numerical answers, language have no, I would not say no, but it has little importance because the numbers will be more focused upon, the answer will be more focused upon. But yeah, if you write section numbers and the section there also, it will be like a plus point for you. It will be a cherry on the cake. So on the language part, you don't have to focus more on law language because see, the provisions you have to learn exactly, and it is not like the hardcore provisions of company law. So you can't learn. You can learn the provisions easily. I'm not saying that learn ditto, but yeah, you can learn some keywords or something, and you can just make the language a little bit label language or something, but don't do a proper label language. Use the technical words, use the professional language, and then you can frame your answer accordingly. Okay, and next part is answer length. So in numericals, you don't have choice. Like if it is the answer is covering only half mark, then it is half mark on half page, then it is half page only. If it is covering two page, then it is two page. So you don't have much choice. But yeah, just focus on the marking scheme. If a numerical is asked for 8 marks, and it is you think that the statement is so small, so why will the examiner will give you like a small question for 8 marks? So he is expecting some legal provisions also. So do focus on the marking scheme also, and then you write the answer accordingly. If you think that statement is sufficing that marking scheme, you don't have to write more about legal provisions. But yeah, legal provisions are also compulsory in numerical portions also. Sometimes now what people do is like if there is 4 mark numerical and you have done the numerical correctly, still you are getting 2 or 3 marks. But why? Because you haven't write the legal provisions or reasonings or explanations, whatever the examiner is expecting from you. So do focus on the marking scheme and then accordingly write the provisions and everything. If you think that marking scheme is much higher, then give more weightage to legal provisions also. And apart from that, focus on quality, not on quantity, because it's a professional paper, it's for CA final level. You will not get marks based on the quantity, you will get marks only on the base of quality. Another thing we'll cover is that written practice is required or not. So obviously, yes, written practice is required, but because the time is very limited, you can't write everything. So if you have like less time, you can attempt the test papers directly at the end. I will suggest 1 or 2 test papers to write before going for the main exam. So 1 or 2 test papers you should write full syllabus properly, sitting 3 hours, and self evaluate that. Or you can take the test series also. Or if you don't want to do that thing, you can do is you can just try pick 1 or 2 questions from each and every chapter, and you can write and self evaluate yourself. So these are 2 ways you can do the written practice. But yeah, don't skip written practice. 1 or 2 questions, like somehow you have to do written practice. Don't just go on reading and reading and reading, because at the end you have to write the paper. Because somehow I have seen people that they know the concept but they don't know how to write it, how to express yourself in the front of examiner. Because examiner will not be gonna come to you and ask you the provisions, he will judge you on the basis of your answer sheet. So you have to present yourself on the answer sheet, and for that you have to do written practice. Okay, and next thing is Okay, so one thing I want to say about customs and FTP. So in customs and FTP, they combined have a weightage of 25 marks. But FTP is something, it has a weightage of approx 10 marks. So you don't have to skip FTP also. Do it, it's very easy. You will be getting, if you haven't studied it yet, no issues. I have given you the video link. You can just study it from the video link and directly jump to the questions. It will be helpful to you. And don't skip anything. In paper also now, if you don't know how to do the customs or these questions, I will suggest you one trick, but it doesn't work always, but yeah, it somehow works. See, if there is a baggage question, so you don't know how to attempt this, you haven't read the baggage chapter. So what you can do is like, they have given you some line items in the question, and they are asking you ki calculate how much baggage you have to pay for that. So you don't know the answer. So technically you will, what you can do is you can tax everything. Apart from 10 things, 5 or 4 must be correct now. So for those 5 or 5, you will get marks. And rest of the 5, you already know ki they are not correct. So examiner will do is for the correct ones, they will provide you marks. Don't skip that if you don't know that. Just do everything. Either you will get half marks but don't zero. So do everything if you don't know the answers in the exam. But firstly, try not to do that. Just study hard. You can easily crack that. It's so easy. Okay, and next thing I want to say is like MCQ strategy, which I told you in first group also. That my MCQ strategy is I firstly try to pick up MCQs, and for MCQs I don't do extra revisions. When you are doing the main revisions, like for subjective part, the MCQs are automatically covered in that, in the form of case study or something. So you don't have to put extra efforts for the MCQ part. If you have enough time, you can do that, but it's not preferable right now. And in the examination, what you can do is after reading the main descriptive paper for 10-15 minutes, you can just pick the MCQs, and you can just make a small tick or some small dot on the MCQ sheet, question paper, that whatever you think that it is the suggested answer, and you think that it is the correct answer, and for that questions which you are doubtful, you just have to circle them or put a special mark on them so that you can remember at the end that these are the doubtful questions. But at the same time, you have to put a best answer for that doubtful answers also, because if you don't get time at the end, you will still have to mark anything, because the best part is there is no negative marking, so you should not leave any MCQ, and at the last you will be in a haphazard manner if you didn't get the time. So in the beginning itself, mark the answers whichever you think it is suitable and correct answer. And at the end, like in end 10-15 minutes, what you can do is you can just go through the MCQs again, whichever you were feeling doubtful. If you want to change the answer, you can change. If you don't want to change, then just fill the MCQ OMR sheet and then done with the MCQs. Okay, so for that MCQs, I will suggest you that trick. And last day strategy is my strategy to learn, because in GST, I believe there are so many limits to learn. Like for composition, you have to learn the limits. For registration, you have to learn the limits. Somehow, in like you have to learn the days, like how many days you get the registration, what is the time limit for appeal. So there are so many things to learn in GST, so many things to learn in customs. You have to learn the limits of baggage and everything. So what you can do is, my strategy is take one paper and write all the limits and sections or times, whatever you want to learn on that sheet of paper, and try to read that like once in a week or twice in a week, whatever suitable to you. It will be your guide for the last day exam also, because when you will be preparing for the exams, you don't have to go through the concepts again. You just have to learn those limits. You can just easily learn that from the paper. And apart from that, when you are doing questions right now, you can mark the master questions or the questions which you are feeling doubtful right now. So you can study them at the 1 day before examination. So I believe that is it from my side for indirect taxation. If you have any other doubts, you can just put it in the comment box and I will be happy to answer. Okay, all the best, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Tada.